permission. Are you waiting for permission to do something? Have you been waiting to do something because you feel you need permission? Like from who? Who needs to give you permission? Some authority, some certification program, your parents, your past self, your future self, your partner. Who do you feel needs to give you permission? In fact, you can give yourself permission. I could do it for you. Go, whoo, permission granted. Go do whatever it is you're wanting to do. Stop waiting for somebody to give you permission. I just gave you permission. That easy. Yeah. But most of us are waiting around for permission. Permission to do our life's work, permission to follow our dreams, permission to follow our intuition, permission to go for our goals, whatever it is. So, why do we do this? Why do people feel like they need permission? Well, people seek permission rather than acting without it for a lot of different reasons. And we're going to go into some of those in more depth, but these include respect for boundaries, wanting to avoid conflict, fear of consequences, a need for social validation. It could also be a way to ensure safety and maintain ethical standards and foster positive relationships. There are lots of reasons that we look for permission or seek permission, but most of it is just in our head. We think we need permission. I know that there have been many times that I've held back and not given myself permission to do something. And usually that's based on my fear that someone, like a friend, a parent, my husband, will disapprove. Or they're going to feel badly as a result of whatever it is that I decide to do, or they're going to get angry or feel my decision isn't a good one for some reason. Like it's going to stop me from making money or something like that. But ultimately, it's always been my decision to make. I only needed to give myself permission and then deal with the ramifications or the fallout of that. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to deal with the ramifications of the fallout. And so I didn't give myself permission, and that meant that I was stuck and I didn't move forward, right? And maybe you can relate to some of my story. I wasted a lot of time waiting for permission or not asking for it because I was also afraid to ask for it and afraid to just give myself permission to go for it. So either way, I was kind of stuck, right? So, what does needing permission look like, or how does it show up? So, there's seeking permission versus asking for permission. So, seeking permission to me is wanting like more qualifications, more degrees, certificates, things like that. It could also mean seeking approval for what you want to do, or you feel like you want to know from some outside source that it's okay, right? And that all of that comes from not feeling good enough and imposter syndrome. Um, just feeling like you need something more. You need to be better to be good enough in order to do whatever it is you're wanting to do. Sometimes seeking permission comes from not wanting to overstep boundaries, which can be a good thing. Um, More often, I find it's from, that you don't want someone to be angry and you want to avoid conflict and you have fear of consequences, like I mentioned. There's also a social validation aspect of seeking permission, like that if you seek it and you get it, then you're somehow validated as being good enough or being able to move forward, right? Excuse me. And then there's the asking for permission. So we tend to ask for permission from our teachers, from our parents, our coaches, our spouses and partners. Um, we feel like they need to somehow tell us we can, or bless us that we can go for it and do whatever it is we're wanting to do. Um, this seeking permission comes from not feeling you can make the decision for yourself on your own. Um, like you need somebody to grant permission and tell you it's okay to do whatever you want to do, that it's a good idea or that they approve or whatever. So you don't feel like you can make the decision on your own. So you're asking for permission to do something. It also can come from overthinking, which is, overthinking is something that happens when we don't trust our own decisions. So if we're asking for permission, we might want to know what we want to do is a good decision. We might have been thinking about it for a long time, and then we want to know it's a good decision. We want somebody else to say it's okay. And that relieves us of our doubt and our lack of self-confidence or lack of self-esteem, because that wanting somebody else to give us permission comes from that place of doubting ourselves, of lacking self-confidence and not having enough self-esteem. We might also ask for permission because we don't want to just give ourselves permission and take action and then get disapproval or rejection. So we're afraid of that disapproval or rejection. And so we ask for permission to make sure nobody's going to disapprove of us or reject us or whatever. And we don't want someone to be angry. So it's a way of avoiding conflict and the fear of the consequences, right? Now, there are some good reasons, positive reasons to ask for permission. So one of those can be avoiding conflict. I find in most cases, avoiding conflict, having that as a reason can um, isn't such a positive reason for looking for permission. But sometimes taking action without permission leads to misunderstandings and resentment and even conflict. So asking for permission can actually prevent those kind of issues, right? And sometimes that's a good thing. Also, it can be positive to ask for permission if you want to maintain social harmony. So seeking permission can be a way of navigating social situations with more ease and fostering positive relationships. So even like with your partner, you don't want to just go do it maybe because then you're going to have disharmony in the home, and it's easier or better for you to ask for the permission and get it and feel like everybody's on the same page. Another reason to ask for permission that's a positive one is because of safety and responsibility issues. Because in certain situations, especially those that involve potentially risky actions, seeking permission can be a way to ensure safety and avoid harm. So a good example of this would be, I like horses, so I'm not going to go somewhere and just get on a horse. I'm going to ask permission. Is it safe for me to get on this horse? Is it okay? Also, the horse could get injured, or I could get injured if the horse isn't safe. Same with, asking if it's safe to hike in a certain area, right? So that's just safety and responsibility. And, is it okay to let my dog loose here? Those are all, kind of safety and responsibility issues that it's a good reason to ask permission. Another one is ethical considerations, because um, some actions do require permission for ethical and legal reasons, and seeking that permission ensures that certain standards and ethics are upheld or values. So, that might be, you want to walk across a bit of property and you don't know whose it is. So you go and you ask, is it okay for me to walk on this property? Is it safe for me to walk on this property? It's your property. Do you give me permission? Or is it ethical to write about someone without informing them? Probably not. So you're probably going to want to go ask permission to write about them. In certain situations, like when you're borrowing something or taking a photo of someone or interrupting a conversation or looking for, anything like that, then you want to seek permission. It's an appropriate courtesy, if nothing else, but it also can be ethical. Like you don't want to take a picture of somebody and then use it without their permission. It's not ethical. There are also some situational factors, like in organizations and cultures, in hierarchical organizations or cultures, seeking permission can be a standard practice or even a requirement so that everyone coordinates and works together. So there's something else that we should probably talk about, and that is this forgiveness versus permission dilemma. The phrase, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. You've probably heard that. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And people use that to justify just taking action and then asking for forgiveness later, right? Rather than waiting for permission. And it suggests that some individuals are willing to take action and apologize later if they face negative consequences. So they're willing to kind of take that risk. But That approach can be problematic because it can damage trust and relationships. And um, again, seeking permission in some situation is more responsible and respectful. Ultimately, though, the decision to seek permission or act without it depends on the specific context, the potential consequences of the individual person's values and preferences. So ultimately, if it's not having doesn't have ethical concerns or safety concerns or all those things I've just discussed, it really becomes up to you. So I encourage you, when appropriate, to give yourself permission. If you want to take action on a dream or a goal, give yourself permission. If you want to date someone, give yourself permission to ask them out. If you want to find a new job, give yourself permission to start job hunting. If you want to pursue your passion, like writing a book or becoming an artist, give yourself permission. If you want to follow your intuition, give yourself permission to act on your intuitive hits. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I know I'm not going to cut that out. If you want to sneeze, give yourself permission. I just gave myself permission to sneeze on this video. So, unless the situation dictates a real need for permission, for ethical reasons, safety reasons, the things we've talked about, you be the one who says, go do it. You have my permission. It's up to you. Now, can you decide you want to discuss it with your partner? You could say, I gave myself permission. I don't know if I'd put it that way, but I've made this decision and I've given myself permission to take time off to go horseback riding. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And, your partner may have something to say about it. Like, what about working during that time and helping pay the rent, right? But you can still give yourself permission and then just say, this is what I've decided. I've given myself permission to do this, and I hope you'll honor that. And you can still have the discussion after giving yourself permission. Now, will it go as well as if you ask for permission? Maybe not. But if you ask for permission before making the decision to go for it, to go for your horseback riding or whatever it is, you might never do it because you might never get the permission. And how long are you and I going to wait for someone else to give us permission to do our life's work, to follow our dreams, to go after our goals? How long are we going to wait? I'm not waiting. I hope you won't wait. So give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to do the things that are fulfilling and gratifying and float your boat and that make you happier and help you live a life that feeds your soul. Do them. If they're not harming anyone else, do them. Give yourself permission. Okay? So I'd love to know in the comments below what you are waiting for permission to do. What are you, I got my finger caught in my earring. What are you waiting for permission to do? And are you willing at this point to give yourself permission? To go for it, to do it. Give yourself permission. Are you willing? Tell me down below in a comment, okay? If you're new to me, I'm Nina Amir, the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I am a certified high performance coach and a transformational coach. I'm also an author and an author coach. What I enjoy doing is helping people get from where they are to where they want to go by getting out of their own way. I enjoy helping people step into being the type of person who can, like in this situation, give themselves permission and go for it. Do the things they want to do and not wait for someone else to tell them it's okay. It's the right time. They're qualified. So if you'd like to be that kind of person, if you'd like to be a person who doesn't wait for permission, who gives themselves permission, the kind of person who does the things that help them create what matters to them, click on the link up above that tells you 3 different ways you can work with me. Choose one of them. If you get confused, you don't know which of the 3 ways is the best way for you to work with me, then click on the second link, which is for having a talk with me. We'll have a quick session, just 15 minutes or so. No hard sales, just you and I figuring out if we're a good fit to work together and what's the best method of doing that. Okay? So click on the links above. I hope to see you in a 15-minute session with me so we can talk about how to help you give yourself permission. how to help you get from where you are to where you want to go, how to help you be someone who takes the actions that you know you need to take to create what matters to you. You know you need to be that person, and you're tired of waiting to give yourself permission to be that person. It's time now to do that, to give yourself permission to be that person. Okay, that's it for today. Until I talk to you next time, go out there and achieve more inspired results.